What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ethan. It's the holiday season. I'm back home right now at the beautiful Encore in Boston. And there's a 1025 running, I guess, and I wanted to check it out. It's a 5K max. We'll see how this game goes. It's been running every day, apparently. And one big thank you to Gaming Commission, people at Encore here for letting this video stay up. Because, look, whenever I'm back in the Northeast, it's hard to record, hard to get permission. I don't have it. And this video could only stay up because of you guys turning a blind eye to this video. So thank you for keeping it up, please. I just want to showcase the room, showcase the game. Always love to hear. They just opened up a bunch of more tables, so it seems like poker's going to be back and alive and well here in the Northeast, which is awesome. So let's hop into the game. 1025, a larger public game, and let's see how the action is. With $5,000 to start off this session, I pick up 8-9 of diamonds in the cutoff. There's a +1 open to $60 here. Certainly could 3-bet sometimes, but I decided to take the low variance route to start. I make the call, button, big blind, come along. Going multi-way here, the flop is Jack 10-6, 2 clubs, and a diamond. Okay, open-ended with a backdoor flush draw. The +1 player continues with a small bet of $50. Using this very small sizing multi-way seems very interesting, but him betting into 3 other opponents seems like a strong hand. So definitely going to be continuing, but I just want to make the call here, which brings along the big blind player. So now we're going 3 ways to the turn, which is the 4 of diamonds. Brings in a backdoor flush draw, so pretty sick turn card for me. +1 c-bets once again for $175. I am pretty confused about this sizing, given there's a double flush draw on board. A smaller sizing here definitely doesn't indicate a super strong hand. And now I think it opens up the opportunity to start raising. Given I'm in position, I don't think it's necessary, but definitely a cool idea to play with. I take the low variance route once again and just make the call, maybe slow playing my very strong draw. Big blind player ends up folding and we're going to the river, which is a 7 of hearts Bink City with the nuts now. Literally have the best hand possible on this board, and my opponent goes into the tank and he ends up arriving on a decision, which is a check, which is very unfortunate. He has about $2,000 in his stack. I was trying to find a way to get all of it in there, but all right, got to get my own value here. I just want to get called, and I opted for a sizing of $550, thinking that this is big enough to get a call, not big enough to blow him off of a strong 1-pair holding potentially. Anyways, my opponent goes deep into the tank once again before arriving at a decision, which is a flick of a chip, meaning it's a call. I show the nuts, and of course, I win this one. So I get a nice pot shipped my way to start off this session. And let's get steamrolling into here, where I pick up ace-4 of spades and +1. Our raising's up here to $75, and I get the small blind and big blind to call. Going 3 ways to a flop of 5-4 deuce, 2 spades. Pretty sick flop for me. Pair, flush draw, straight draw. I mean, I don't think there's a huge difference between betting or checking. Besides betting to build a pot, I ended up checking this one when everyone checks around, seeing the turn, which comes a 5. So top card is paired. The big blind decides to bet out $225. Betting out close to the size of the pot is pretty big. Seems like my opponent is repping a 5 or nothing and sitting with the straight flush draw. Of course, I'm going to make the call. Small blind folds, and now we're going to the river, which comes in 8. So, sitting with just a pair of 4s, my flush draw did brick. My opponent checks, and with a pair, happy to check this one back and see he has 8-9 of spades. All right, he finds a very good river for him, and I guess that hand's gonna win. 8-9 is the hand of the night, it seems. It's completely invincible. A few orbits later, we're playing 6-handed as some players have left, and I'm on the $50 straddle with ace-10 offsuit. There's a button raised to $125. The blinds fold it over to me, and I'm happy to make the call here. With the game being a little tame, the flop comes king-6 deuce, 2 diamonds. Action goes check, check. Turn comes a board pairing deuce, and I think ace high can be good here a lot of the time. I check it over to him, and he checks this one back. So not much action here. The river comes a 3. Once again, action goes check, check. Did I say the game was getting a little tame? Yeah. I know it's ace high, and he shows ace queen. Ace queen high is going to win. So I lose this one. This session, unfortunately, seems a little slow as we are an hour into the game so far. And we're playing shorthanded, but let's get involved in the next hand, hoping to spark some fireworks. I have queen 4 of spades and a hijack. Our raising's up to $65 here as I'm going to play a little wide. I want to get involved. I want to get content. Big blind calls, and we're going heads up to a flop of queen 9-9. 2 clubs out there. My opponent checks it over to me, and with top pair, definitely have merits to betting here, but sometimes for balance, I can check this one back. So I opted for that route this time. Turn comes a 6, and now my opponent checks for a second time. I mean, how much value can I possibly get out of this pot? I guess it's time to find out, because I bet $75 hoping to get a draw, an ace high, a pair of 6s to call. He ends up making the call, so that's great. River comes an ace of diamonds, and now my opponent does not do the auto check. He actually thinks about his decision for a while and ends up blasting out $375. What? What is this? What strong hands don't check raise the turn as played and now decides to blast on this river? The line is very confusing. I have a queen, which is a pretty decent hand. It's hard to imagine an ace doing this. So he's basically just trying to say he has a 9 or a missed flush draw. I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I make the call, and he shows queen 9. Oh. Okay, that's a flopped full house. I guess that makes sense. He's going to win this one, and I'm bleeding some money. We get involved the very next shuffle, though, so back in action with ace 10 of diamonds in the low jack. I raise it up to $65, and this time I get the cutoff to 3-bet to $225. Of course, I'm not going anywhere. It's a very fun hand to play, and let's see a flop, which comes king jack 5 rainbow. No diamond, which is pretty important because I have no backdoors. I check it over to my opponent on a board that basically whiffs me. He bets $200, which is a pretty large sizing. I just gotta fold this one. And my opponent's nice enough to show me pocket kings. So nice hand to Mike, who watches the vlog. It was fun playing with you. And this next hand, I get involved with Mike again. 10-9 offsuit in the cutoff, and we're short-handed. I need content. Everyone's not playing many hands. I raised it up to $65. Mike from the small blind makes the call. Seems like he wants more easy money. And the flop comes jack 10-9, 2 clubs. Sick flop. I finally have something with bottom 2 pair. My opponent checks, and on this very connected board, I decided to bet out $125. Trying to bet big, as I'm sure he could have a draw, he could have a pair. A lot of stuff with a lot of equity. For $125, my opponent makes the call, and we're going to the turn, which comes the 5 of diamonds. Complete brick, and my opponent checks again. At this point, I expect any hand better than mine to check raise at a very high frequency on this flop, and now expecting my hand to be good, I decided to bet out $375. Sizing up here for value, just trying to get called by some draw, a jack. Who knows, we can have maybe a jack and a straight draw. And for $375, he makes the calls. So we've got another pot ballooning up. The river comes a king. Any queens of straights. I lose to some 2-pair combos. My opponent checks, and I don't think there's much merit now to betting. I check this one back, and he shows king jack. Yeah, another hand that's going to beat me on quite the downswing, it seems like, as of late. Haven't been winning that many pots, and easy money for Mike. Once again, nice hand. In the next interesting spot with ace 8 of diamonds in the big blind, we're playing 6-handed still. Low jack raises to $60. Hijack, cutoff, make the call, and all right, I'm in the big blind. Let's see a flop. I call as well, and the flop comes ace 10-6 rainbow here. With top pair, I decided to check it over to the pre-flop aggressor, and the low jack bets $75 into the field. Seems pretty strong, and when the hijack makes the call, I really don't feel comfortable about this situation, but I do have backdoor straight and flush draws to go along with my top pair. Let's see what happens, right? I make the call, and we're off to a turn, which comes to the 9 of clubs. Very interesting, as this card should hit me a little bit more. I do have a gut shot straight draw. Debated on between betting or checking here, and I decided to take the conventional line, which is a check. Everyone checks around. Now off to a river, which comes a king. All right, well, I have top pair. I'm just trying to get to showdown as cheaply as possible. I check, and the player to my left, a low jack, bets $375, give or take. The other person folds, and I just can't imagine top pair to be good here. I mean, maybe it's recency bias because I cannot win a hand, so is my opponent going to be bluffing into 2 other opponents after betting into the field on the flop? It's a little bit ambitious, and I believe him. I let it go and fold. once again, chipping down, waving the white flag. All right, with things not really going the way I'd like it to, let's rebound. I'm on the button with 10-8 of clubs. Fun hand to play. I raise it up to $65 and get the big blind to defend. We're off to a flop here of 10-3 deuce rainbow. My opponent checks it over to me, and I'm going to mix in a check with a very strong hand on this board. Top pair certainly could use some protection, but on a board that doesn't favor me much, I check. Turn now comes the 7 of diamonds, brings in a backdoor flush draw, and my opponent checks again. At this point, of course, I'm definitely got a bet for value, and I'm sure I can have a lot of bluffs with the line taken. I bet $100, and my opponent makes the call for $100, and we're going to the river, which comes a board pairing 3. Very, very clean run out for my top pair, and when my opponent checks again, I think the sizing I want to use is a big one, because let's be honest here, I don't think I have a whole lot as the line that I've taken so far. A lot of my hands that I want to bet for value would bet on this flop. And what could I reasonably get called by? He certainly could hit a 7. He could have a deuce. He could have ace high. All of those things would seem very curious to a $350 wager. And when I bet this one out, my opponent thinks about it for a while, is a little confused by how I played this hand, which I don't really blame him for. It eventually ends up making the call, which I would assume my hand is good, and I finally nearing the end of the session, win a pot. Everyone give me a big round of applause. I did it. I won a pot and got value on the river. This one feels good, and we're going to ride that momentum into this next hand. Pocket sixes, I'm on the button again, we're playing 5-handed. There's a hijack raised to $60, and I'm in position. Of course, I'm going to make the call. We're going heads up, which comes Queen 5 6, 2 hearts out there, and finally a very, very strong hand. Even better, my opponent bets $50, and given I'm in position here, certainly do want to get as much money in the middle, but I decided to take the passive line. I guess I took the passive line a lot this session. I just make the call. Turn now comes the deuce of hearts, which is not amazing. Flush draw gets there and such, but when my opponent checks, now, I just got to assume my hand is good. I would assume a lot of the flushes that he's going to have will be betting here. So let's go and get some value. Maybe get value from a queen, get value from a 1 heart holding. I bet $150 now at this point. And when my opponent makes the call once again, yeah, I'm pretty sure my hand is going to be ahead here. Flushes would probably check raise a lot of the time. We're off to a river, hoping to not see a red heart. It is the 7 of diamonds, so running good finally. Not seeing a 4th heart on the board is amazing, and when my opponent checks again, I want to get the maximum here. How much could I get ace queen to call? And I think $750 could be that magical amount. So I throw that amount in. My opponent doesn't take too long before making the call. It's finally nice to get paid and show that he has Jack 9 of hearts. Oh my goodness. What a brutal run out of cards here today. That's enough frustration. That's enough pain and enough losing for me today. I can't win even with the set. I run into a very well-played flush. I guess I just value owned myself the turn and river. And just like that, I'm going to call it a night. So thanks for tuning in to this one. This was a lot of pain. Let's see how much I lost at the end of the day. All right. Today didn't go as well as planned. Actually, the past few sessions, if you've been following along, have not been going well as planned. Ever since I won the massive session, Sunran at Hustler, I can't find a way to win a hand, a pot, or anything. It just seems like I show up and get whacked. I'm not complaining, guys. I won a lot of money at Hustler, so it's nice to run good there. But now it's starting to get a little frustrating. I just show up at a casino, get whacked no matter how, whether I don't have anything or, other players improve on me. It happens, it's all part of poker, just trying to get through a tough stretch. But this one was not fun. I was in the game for 8,200, cashed out of the game for 5,180. L of $3,000. I played for 3 hours. 3,000 over 100 big blinds is a lot for 3 hours. Not great for the hourly, but it's part of poker. I figured it's time to call it quits after losing for a while, so that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It's always nice to come back to Encore, though. Maybe next time I'll actually win something. I'll see you guys in the next video. There's going to be constant uploads this month, and I'll hopefully try to win this time. Hit a like, because I like that.